So the integration here is pretty complex and the architecture is really solid, especially compared to everyone else out there, every other facial recognition company out there that works with DW Spectrum. I'm sure that the architecture is not that exciting in terms of the end user, but for systems integrators, that is very important because it makes it a lot easier to use if there's not a lot of clunky malarkey going on. So essentially, the DW Spectrum has incorporated several Luna SDK modules that are responsible for face detection, tracking, best shot selection, and real-time display of data in the interface, which is something that you're about to see in a second as soon as we get through the talking part of this presentation. So the Luna platform is always running in the background of the same server that the DW Spectrum is running on. So right now I have it running on my laptop, which honestly isn't powerful enough to handle it, but it can manage. So
the big thing being that once it's set up, once Luna is set up, Spectrum becomes the primary interface for all the user interaction. So it's not like the user has to manage two different interfaces or learn two different interfaces. It's all self-contained within that Spectrum interface.
Yeah, you see, we spent a lot of time actually designing this whole user experience and allowing the basic settings behind the very complex logic of all the face detection, best shot selection, matching algorithms running in the background to be managed through the DW Spectrum interface. And Mike will be able to show it. So what he said before is like, you are spending more time downloading the package itself than actually getting it to work. This is the reality here.
Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the demo. So Mike, I'm going to make you the presenter for this.
So I'm just gonna hop right into it here. Go. All right. So I'm just using my webcam for this.
Very cool.
There we go. So here, as you can see on the screen, got my name because I'm entered into the database, age estimation, gender estimation, which is correct, and an emotion estimation, which is also correct. I'm feeling very neutral right now. In addition, you can handle several faces at once. So we've got guy over here, lady over here. We have other estimations such as eyeglasses. So for him it's true, for her it's non-existent. So these people aren't in the database. They don't have a name. I could enter a name for them here, right-clicking on the person over here in the Objects tab. So I don't know this guy's name. Let's call him Greg. So now we have the person created. Greg pops back up on the screen, and then we have Greg. So creating a person in this interface is very simple, really easy to do. You could even go back, say, all these yellow bits down here on the bottom, that's when a face is indicated or has been detected. That's me from earlier today. All right. You can also go through and search. So I'm going to search for myself. It'll show all of the times that I was in front of the camera down here. You can also search for attributes such as male or female. So not many females in the office today, just me. So there we have earlier, testing this out. Choose again. And there we go. Additionally, you don't need the entire face to get this going. So let's say I walk into a store and I'm wearing sunglasses, it still pick me up and it'll tell me that I'm wearing them. Additionally, given the current state of things, can also pick people up wearing masks and identifies them no problem. There I am, Mike, 25, male. I guess I'm sad when I'm in. So that's just some of the basic functionalities of it. Here, all the controls done here in the system administration tab, with the plugins tab becoming available once you move our plugin folder into the files of the Spectrum. So here you can set the list ID that you'll be using, the host of the Luna platform. So the Luna platform is running on a VM, and you put in the IP address of that virtual machine right here, and then it knows to connect to Luna. Also got a Luna token here. You can do all sorts of stuff down here, evaluating eyes, mouth. Acceptable quality. This is the percentage of your face shot that is similar. Okay, let me reword this. So the current image it is processing compared to the image in the database, that's above 85% similarity score, then it'll match it. You can set this to whatever you want, B99, B99, anything above really 90 is pretty much guaranteed unless it's identical twins, but nobody can really identify identical twins, and that is a very rare case, so not really applicable. Additionally, you could just select an area. So whenever my face goes up in this corner of the screen, that'll be down here in yellow. There with my face, in this corner, identified. Right. So additionally, you can turn this on pretty much any camera. So I've got a little camera right here. Oh, black and white, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. All you do is right click on the camera stream, plugins, enable, good to go. And there I am.
So that was in your, that was in your camera settings. So you right clicked on the camera, you went into the camera settings, and once you have a plugin installed, so once that plugin is installed in the system, you can apply it to particular cameras using that enable button in the plugins tab of the camera settings.
Yeah.
That's how you apply it to the particular camera in the system. Got it.
And we've been working with digital watchdog cameras for a little over 2 years, and the results are just incredible. You guys make great cameras. I remember at ISC West last year, there was a PTZ that was running our plugin, and it was a lot of fun to play with. I was actually at the booth. Even the PTZ around, some people around.
Yes, trade shows were fun. Those were the days.
Yeah. All right. Additionally, what else do I have here? So I'm going to assume everyone's familiar with Spectrum, so I'm not going to really.
Yeah, I'll just touch on it. I'll just touch on it briefly. That what Mike is showing on that right panel. So in 4.0, the right panel was redesigned So when you slide out that right panel, now you have things like motion and notifications and bookmarks and so forth can all be brought up in that right panel. When you have a plugin installed, and only when you have a plugin installed will you see that object tab, which is the icon to the furthest right, which associates with those plugins. And that's what's giving the information coming from the video analytics solution, in this case, in the VisionLab product, is how you'll get that up. So you won't necessarily see an objects tab until you've set up the Luna plugin. Now, once it's in, and I think what you were just getting to, Mike, sorry to interrupt your presentation, but once it's in, you can get into the, you can go in and start creating rules with those, correct? I think that's where you were going.
Like, my server went down.
Okay. Sorry, I heard me talking.
No problem. But yeah, essentially you can go into the objects tab and set rules for events, such as like when a face is recognized, send a notification on the screen, or if a face is not recognized, send an email to somebody, you know, send an HTTP request, have a text layover on any camera screen, all sorts of stuff.
So you added Greg into the system, and so could you create a rule at that point that if Greg were to reappear, you could have video pop up using the alarm layout?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can have it for just specifically Greg instead of a face being recognized. I want to say that we had something for just, you know, if a male pops up or something, we could even do that. But yeah.
So any of the attributes as well, or most of the attributes?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So let's let you reboot your server or reset your server, and I will make myself the presenter again. Okay. So just some remarks about, you had some final remarks in here in terms of VisionLabs, the company, and you know, we can always swing it back to you if you want to reset your server.
Yeah, okay. Anton, do you want to take this? Well, I'm working over here.
Yeah, you, Patrick, what you actually want to hear from me here?
Final remarks.
Final. Yeah, guys. So you see the reality about face recognition today is that there is a zillion of face recognition vendors, one screaming their best after another, and the only way how we can win through the competition today is to make available the Luna platform plugin together with DW Spectrum for free for the testing POC phase. I don't mean just the SI partner side of things. I also mean the POC at the customer sites because I think that the quality will speak for itself, and that's why we are making the testing, implementation, integration, getting to know the product as easy as possible in our case. So I encourage everyone to just start playing around with the system and yeah, just see for yourself. Comparing it with other vendors, I don't care. I know I'll win. So making the product free for the POC and testing phase is one of the key advantages, right? What else? So in terms of the company itself, we are growing rapidly. I joined the company 3 years ago. Since that time, we have done like hundreds of projects all over the world in like more than 40 countries. Major markets for us are in the order of revenue APAC, then comes Middle East, then comes Americas, how I call them. Mike is relocating back to the US this year. Most probably he will be based in the New Jersey area. This will be the office setup for VisionLabs in North America. We already have an office in Singapore and we have an office in Dubai. And besides the North America headquarters with Mike, we'll also be establishing an office in Tokyo and Mexico City. So in terms of the product, it's stable. It's not version number 1 or version number 1.1. It's out there for 8 years. It's a polished one. In terms of the reputation, I don't think you'll hear any bad things about VisionLabs around. In terms of the company and its stability, we are a profitable business. We are organically growing. We don't require any kind of immediate investment for us to keep us afloat. So I think VisionLabs and DW obviously are the right partner to engage in a long-term business, especially for face or any type of other analytics. Because right now I think the time is coming for the US to enter this area as well. Because yeah, we all know that in Asia this is a welcome technology. Middle East likes cool stuff, so they are spending a lot of money on it. In the US, obviously, there is a problem with the legal vacuum of regulating face recognition, and obviously more blockages now in terms of the perception of getting some reputational risks, especially in the commercial sector, when companies will or may start using face recognition. But yeah, especially with the virus situation today, more and more requests we are having from the US-based customer for the face recognition technology, detecting people wearing masks or not, and stuff like this. So I think it will penetrate the US market anyways, sooner or later.
Yep, we see that too. So ready for some questions there, Anton?
I've actually
we got a couple. You got it up, back up again? You wanna continue what you were showing before I interrupted you? I'll make you the presenter again. Sorry about that. Try not to interrupt. Coming back at you. There you go.
So, yeah, he was talking about the motion detection. I'm showing it off right now. This isn't us. This is somebody else. But you could just like select an area, motion detection in that area. The red marks indicate motion in this area, or the red marks generally indicate motion. Okay, back to the fun stuff. So you can right-click on the Objects tab over here, Event Rules, add an event. So this is going to be an analytics event. When it starts or stops, you know, if you stop seeing a recognized face, this is when it starts at, let's do the webcam. And so you can do face detection. That's any face is detected. Face not recognized is face detected, not in the database. For example, if you have a whitelist area, someone passes by, they're not recognized, you want to be alerted. Or if you want face recognition, so this person in the database, good to go. Caption contains, let's say, Greg, because we wanted to make the rule about Greg. So we can set a bookmark, camera output. If you have a camera that makes sound, two-way camera. Camera recording, HTTP request, PTZ preset, play sound, email, send a notification, show a text overlay, speak, write to log, all of this. And you want to show an alarm layout, right?
Yeah, that would get it to pop up on somebody's screen if Greg comes in the building. somebody wants to know about it.
Greg's big trouble. And so we'll do that no more than once per minute to all the administrators, force the alarm layout.
So that's so that would be basically anybody with that user role of an administrator, but you could choose from there. You could choose specific users. There's a button down in the lower left there or user roles. Anybody with the user role or specific users in the system to have it pop up on their screen.
Okay, so let's bring Greg back. There you go.
There you go. So I also noticed in the timeline, we use red for our smart search and blue for the bookmarks, but there's a yellow color down there. So that's when the objects are detected in the timeline there.
Yeah, that's the analytics events, each one of them.
So it's all incorporated there. So one of the questions that came in, and I think you showed it, but just to kind of reemphasize it, all of the metadata there in terms of your name, your age, gender, emotion, that is the search field in that object becomes the ability to search. So again, you could type in Greg and bring up, yeah, disgust, sad. Show me all the sad people today. Yeah, so you can kind of see that all of that data down there is all it's capable of being searched right within the Spectrum interface and pull back those results in there. Okay. Another question that came up, and somebody was asking about the mask. Is there a attribute for masks yet?
Yes.
Yeah. The thing is in the SDK itself and in the module specifically responsible for detecting face and analyzing its appearance, we do have an occlusion detector that can tell you whether it's a mask or it's a scarf or whatever thing. We just need to understand that this is face. That's all. I don't know whether it's integrated with the DW Spectrum already, but the system itself has this opportunity.
Okay, great. So, anything else you want to show us in the demo there, Michael?
Yeah, this is kind of cool. You can hover over a face, and then you track it as it moves. You don't move the mouse. So like that. Then if I move, the face is still highlighted.
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting thing if you are starting to monitor a specific person in a crowd, like during the expo or in a crowded area. It's not as fun as Mike is showing it right now, but it's actually a very useful. It's actually a very useful feature. And when we were doing the integration itself, the trickiest part was actually syncing the processing of video frames by our face detection and best shot selection engine to really make it real time, because you always see some kind of delay when it comes to displaying the face detection and tracking results, but not in this particular case, because we just spent, I think, 1 year for this particular feature alone. And then it allowed, obviously, doing this fun stuff with hover up and yeah.
Does it follow in terms of? I mean, if you have it turned on, if you have the plugin turned on for multiple cameras, and you're doing it's locked on in that tracking, would it basically follow the person between those two locations, those two views?
I don't think this
Okay,
setting is available, yeah, in the VMS interface, but in our logic of the system working, Mike already said that we do have some things like human re-identification, and it's the same concept. We keep on tracking the face across multiple camera sources. It just has to appear once.
Okay.
Yeah, the problem with near-infrared camera here is that the engine does not consume the near-infrared channel. That's the problem. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, the other one's not working.
Yeah, and funny thing is, like, usually there is a big problem trying to cross-match faces, especially when they were enrolled using a regular RGB image, like a color image, and trying to match it from infrared camera, black and white image. But this will not be the case with VisionLabs engine. And I think it's one of the more important features of this kind of cross-domain matching. This is how we call it. Being able to recognize faces robustly, no matter whether they come in a black and white image or RGB image.
So I'm just showing this is the Luna platform interface. So you can pretty much just submit any kind of face here, and it'll be recognized. We have one guy who submitted a picture from 1998. Still picks him up every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, yeah, we were talking with Mike just a couple of hours before the broadcast. Like, obviously, the interface of Luna platform with all the advanced settings and applying additional use cases to the system, connecting the Events and Statistics Manager API from our Luna platform to any external system is all available. And you can open, obviously, the Luna platform interface from within the DW Spectrum here. So it's very easy to both manage the system from the DW Spectrum interface itself, as well as use a web page, which is a gateway to our API, more advanced functions and additional types of functions that you may need. You can do it now, since this function of displaying a web page in a DW Spectrum interface is available, right? So you can do it too. And the way how we basically sell the system itself is that within an organization, you may have a use case for face recognition starting with CCTV, but you also have a case for access control or specific devices. You can have KYC digital onboarding functions and stuff. For example, in one bank in the Middle East, we started with KYC digital onboarding use case, and now we are using the same Luna platform system for access control scenario. So in our case, since we are not tying the system performance and licensing mechanism to the per channel model, we are tying it to the database size model. For us, it doesn't matter whether you are using it to connect 1 million cameras, or you are using it to stream the incoming images from the border control, or you are using it for whatever other purpose you are doing it. It's just having the system available for any type of use case you can think about. That's all.
Yeah, I think that came up a couple of times in the questions already. People are asking as far as like for instance, rules to release doors that are integrated with DW. So, I mean, that's just a function of the rules engine that Mike showed you in terms of, you know, that a face is recognized from that analytic event, and then the output to that could be, you know, from a standpoint of you could do an HTTP request to send it to an access control platform that will receive HTTP requests. For instance, you know, something like a Pro Data Key would receive an HTTP request that you could then have the door open based off of that facial recognition. If you had the door wired to be on an output, a hard relay output, you could also trip the output based off of that. I mean, we don't really get into access controls in digital, from the digital watchdog standpoint, but you could certainly send information received from the Luna platform to other platforms using that HTTP request function in the rules engine there.